Before we get into the video, I just wanted to notate that I actually filmed this during the fall, but I wanted to wait until these knives were available in the United States before posting the video. That's all. There it is. What's going on, guys? Melissa Miller, aka Melissa Backwoods, and I'm still here in North Carolina, and it's pretty hot today, I'm not gonna lie. The knives we are talking about today are 3D printed. These are from UG Tools out of Germany. They sent me two models. We have the Tiny Pango, and then we have the Unity Flow Compact Survival Knife. Both of these have 3D printed composite handles. They are claiming this to be just as strong as a full tang knife, even though it is not full tang. Now this knife is only 80 grams or 2.8 ounces. For comparison, here's Tiny next to some similar sized models. This one weighs 6.3 ounces, this one weighs 5.2 ounces, this one weighs 6.7 ounces. And it also comes with this 3D printed sheath, which is made of PA11. And they have a really interesting modular system going on here with a bunch of different accessories. And then we are also going to check out the Unity Compact Survival Knife Magna Cut. And this one also has the titanium 3D printed handle. I'm really curious to see if these are going to be strong or as strong as they claim. It said that in many iterations, the molds were repeatedly adjusted over a year and subjected to many stress tests of the knives until they were satisfied with the result. When you look down inside this handle, you can see the little screw, and that is where the knife connects to the handle. And they also have little accessories on the website, like this fork that directly screws into that, and then you can put that in there. Sharpening rod accessory that you can hide in your handle. Or if you just want it to be at that max lightweightness, no, you don't need to put anything inside the handle. I'm going to test the factory edge with some newspaper. So just slicing that, but it's catching just a little bit. See how the Tiny works. Oh yeah, okay, that factory edge is much slicier. So these are not cheap. The smaller one is $306 to like $340, and this larger one right here is going to be running at about $500. They're German made, right? So you're paying for that, made in smaller batches. The materials, Magna Cut steel, titanium composite, and it's 3D printed. So I'm assuming it might take a minute for them to be made. Let's try the smaller one. Okay, this one's biting into the rope really well. This is the Tiny. Handle on this, extremely comfortable. Swells out just a little bit. I can really get a full hand out there. I really like how that feels. Handle on this one is a little bit more streamlined, a little bit more compact. I would prefer a little bit more of a swell, but I think overall it's very comfortable. And here's me going on a little rope cutting spree with the Tiny Pango to see how it maintained its edge after going through this thick manila rope. Seemed to hold it pretty well, though at the end I'd lost a little bit of smoothness in that cutting. Sometimes I tell people I work out just so I can test knives. One last thing before we get into batoning, I wanted to point out this screw right here on the sheath. And that's pretty nifty because you can use that to screw in or out, and you can actually adjust the tension of the sheath. A little sheath retention test that I like to do is hold the sheath and then use as much force as I can to try to get that knife to fall out with the handle gravity. And yeah, I'll literally just take and be like, ah, as hard as I can. And oh boy, let's see, does that look good? Okay, I think we're good. I'm gonna do a couple things with this knife. First, I'm going to see how well it can break down this gas station firewood. Like I said, they claim that this is just as stable as a full tang knife. I don't know how that would be possible because full tang indicates that it's all made from the same material. It's all made from one piece of material. We'll see. I'm hoping it pleasantly surprises me. Handle feels really good, actually. There's like there's no vibration. So since the handle is so light, it really allows for there to just be more forward momentum in that chopping motion because there's just a lot more weight towards the end of the blade in comparison to the handle. This was a oddly hard piece of wood, I promise. And once again, I was pleasantly surprised at the overall lack of vibration that was being felt throughout the knife as I was chopping. I am sweating. Okay. Let's try the Tiny Pango. This was a winner of Best Fixed Blade, they said. Best German Fixed Blade. I don't know what the award ceremony was or the organization that gave it to it, but yeah, it's a little powerhouse for being less than 3 ounces. I can imagine if you're trying to reduce weight, this would be a really ideal fixed blade. I can't think of a fixed blade that's this size. And this sturdy feeling, it's also this lightweight that I know of. But I haven't, it's like I said, I'm still skeptical. I'm still skeptical of it, but we'll see. Firewood.
So for this test, I went with a 2.5 pound dead blow hammer. And that's because I really wanted to hit it not only on the tip of the blade, but also at the connection point between the blade and the handle to really stress that connection point and see if I could loosen the handle from the tang.
Oopsies. Oh boy. Yeah. Yeah. Here, let's see how much I can get this handle here into the stump. Or not handle, blade. Hitting. Telling you, dead blow hammer is the way to go for these tests. I'm gonna hit it around. Like I said, I don't have a plan for getting this out yet. Yeah, still perfect. No play. Yeah, she's good. Let's do the same thing with Tiny here, Mr. 80 grams.
So here's where I basically started to go rogue, hitting the knife at that connection point between the blade and the handle, trying to see if I could get that handle loose. Also keep in mind that this knife is only 0.11 inches thick, or 2.8 millimeters.
Hitting this at different angles, really trying to compromise that handle's connection to that blade.
So here's where I really started getting abusive. I wasn't only hitting the knife into the stump, but I started swinging at it laterally. If this company was going to claim that this is as strong as a full tang knife, well, you better damn believe that I was going to be hitting it as hard as I could at that connection point to see if I could separate that handle from the tang of the blade.
Sorry, knife.
So after beating the absolute crap out of this knife, yeah, it was fine. There was zero wiggle room, no loose bits. Everything was still just as intact as it was at the beginning of this test.
Unity, still kicking it. Everything's straight, intact. No blemishes on the handle. Well, there's some dirt. Now, as for throwing sparks on a ferro rod, Tiny is not doing so well, but the Unity, you can tell they actually made this a bit more 90 degrees right here. It's significantly edgier or bitier than this part, and that really throws sparks. Watched a video where they batoned the blade and the handle through the wood, so I'm gonna try that too.
This was an ambitious piece of wood to choose. It was thick, it was hard, it was going across the grain as I was hitting into it, but I was also making sure to dead blow hammer on that point where the knife tang connected to the handle to try to make it loose. And then here, where I am once again hitting directly on that connection point between the handle and the blade. So at this point, I was pretty much unable to get it inside the log any deeper, so I decided to dislodge it.
Still looks good. Man, I'm kind of bummed I couldn't get through that all the way. But I tried. That was really gross sounding.
Hello, we are back in Michigan because I was going to finish filming that video in North Carolina, but we got hit with a hurricane. Hurricane Helene came right through the Asheville area where I was staying, and luckily I got out. So sorry about that inconsistency of location. That being said, holy crap, did these two knives impress me more than I thought that they would? Yeah, these are unaffected. I mean, well, at least it seems there's nothing loose. None of the integrity of the connection point between the knife and the handle was affected. The tips have not been compromised after pounding them in. Maybe a little bit, like this one just got a tiny bit of chipping right there. Yeah, this truly is a unique knife and one that we now know you can beat the crap out of it. I also loved the guard when I was using that to hold onto it and hit with. I think another nice thing to point out is the deep sharpening choil that both of these knives offer. Like I said, they're not cheap, but they're priced this way for a reason. 3D printed resin titanium composite, and we were able to see how strongly it performed. So So is it worth it? If you are a backpacker trying to eliminate weight, I would absolutely say something like tiny is worth it. It's literally half the weight of a regular knife its size. And if you want a larger knife that offers the ability to like store stuff in the handle, $500 is pushing the price point of what I would want to pay. That being said, some people are willing to drop $500 on a knife that they're going to use for the rest of their life.
Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I thought these were too interesting not to talk about and test. I will link them below if you are interested in them. And yeah, thank you all so much for all the love and support on this channel. I hope that you have a great weekend, whatever time of the day or time of the week it is for you. Never get that outro right. But anyways, thank you very much. Bye-bye. If you like things that are sharp and pointy, then maybe you should subscribe to my channel.